This is the Gatekeepers Podcast with Billy Grove. Billy is an innovative leader in the industry who loves teaching others how to build quality fence. So kick back, grab a cold beverage, and get ready to talk about fence. Today's show is sponsored by Mr. Fence Academy, National Metal Industries, and J.C. GURY. If you're looking to hit the next level in your fence company, check out Mr. Fence Academy. Real fencers, real job sites, real training equals real results. And now, live from the Mr. Fence Academy studios, here's your host, Billy Grove.
And normally, like, I'll put them on the like truck and I'll let them dry out, and I'll like change 2 or 3 times. But Saturday was good. Monday was hotter than God, dude. It was hot freaking yesterday, and it was hot today though.
It was nice here up here, and then I was just outside for a second. It was like, man, it's cold. We're up in the 50s this week.
It's not that time yet for us. But we'll get there here and there. But hey man, you gonna like ride the same train. Give me a win and a loss from your past week.
So I don't like losses. I try to be positive. So I don't like and also I think I've done this so long, I'm kind of numb to losses.
Yeah.
I'm in my year 20. So as far as losses, it's like, I mean, somebody's got to die really to be a loss, because I'm just used to them maybe. But as far as wins, I don't like to say this is a win, but it's I had to fire another person. So it used to be so hard for me to fire somebody. So I would get sick to my stomach for a month. It would take me 2 months, and then I would finally just get over the fact that I was going to fire him and just keep him on and just ruin my business, because I just felt so bad. But I think the win for me would be it's getting easier to fire somebody. Right. That's just not right for the company and is not right for the culture. And so, and I hate saying that. It's not, I kind of sound like a dick.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's business,
Yeah, it is. And it affects me, it affects everybody, it affects all the other guys, it affects everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So even Susan says, if you got to live in your wins, even when they're hard. You're running a business, slow to hire, quick to fire.
Yeah, I've learned that. So I'm back out in the field this week, which has been nice. I haven't been out in the field much, and but I'm back in the field this week to show speed, because every single day for the past month, 6 weeks, guys get back at 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. I'm like, you guys did 100 foot yesterday, got back at 6 o'clock. You did 300 feet today, got back at 6 o'clock. How is this working? I'm not quite understanding this. But so I had to get back out in the field and show them, like, hey, this is going to take this much time. I was off by 2 minutes today. I wasn't right on the money of how long the job should take, but
yeah, man. And I think everybody faces that as well. I mean, like, what do you think? Like we were out at a small job today, and I'm not supposed to actually like be out there, like, personally building the fence. And I was just like, at a certain point, I was like, give me the nail gun, please. I was like, give me the nail gun. And like, let me show you guys. And so I railed and I picketed one side for them. And after I was done, I went over to the other side, and I was like, man, you guys ain't done yet. And I was like, I was feeling like I was a hard ass, but I was like, come on, y'all. Like, we had way too many people out there. And there was a lot of slop. Because that's
small job and it takes the same amount of time with the same, like with more people. It's like,
Yeah,
that's frustrating.
but there was a couple new people, like, if I'm being fair.
Okay.
So, we were also, getting them in the groove of things. I mean, one's 2 days old, and then one's not really new, but there's a language barrier, and he's a little bit older, and so we'll just call him new.
I don't mind. I've learned, like, I haven't had a lot of Hispanics until recently, and it's almost, I don't mind the language barrier because
I'm actually loving learning to speak Spanish. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I have to have them tell me like 5 or 6 times, but I'm actually loving to learn it.
right. Well, all my guys speak English, but they don't speak well. Well, I'm sorry. 2 of them don't speak well English, and
Right.
but they can just, all you got to do is just here, do this, and they do it, and it's like, it's
Right.
easy. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, we have one that speaks fluent both, and 3 that do not speak English. They know hammer, saw, post hole diggers. They know all the fence tools, but that's about it.
all I want.
So, yeah. Yeah. So
That's it.
we got one who is a translator, and but man, those guys are really freaking awesome, man. I freaking love them.
They
Like,
are.
they freaking crack me up, and they're great human beings, and like, oh dude, they're hard ass workers too. God, I love them.
Yep.
I freaking
Yep.
love them. But all right, man. Well, hey, I guess let's just dive right into it, man. Just give us a brief overview of MF Fence. And I always just love saying MF Fence because it just makes you want to say motherfucking fence.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I do have that website, motherfuckingfence.com, motherfucking or mofo.com. I got a couple of funny ones on there. I was wanting to get a shirt for next week, but I don't think my wife's going to let me. So, yeah. And then, but it's maintenance free fence.
Yeah.
I've been doing fences since I was basically 19 years old. I started out with a union fence company. And I mean, I was 19 years old, doing fences, and I got hurt. I hurt my knee at a company softball tournament, like a league, and I was off work for a week or a month. I'm sorry, and I started subbing out fence work. I made more money doing that than I did working there, so I was like, you know what, I'm quitting, and I quit when I was just turned 21, and been doing ever since.
Heck
Well,
yeah.
can't say ever since. There was a time there in 2018. I went and worked for a home builder. I was a superintendent there for almost a year, and then I got something called GBS, where I went paralyzed for just a little bit, and then
Yeah.
it kind of made me and my wife rethink things. And then I was like, you know what, we have one life to live. Let's move to Florida. We moved to Florida. I worked for Fence Outlet. Are you familiar with them?
I've heard of them, but aren't they on the east coast of Florida?
Yeah, they're more central. They're like, I don't know if they ever went up to Jacksonville, but Orlando, Tampa, Fort Myers, Port Richey, Daytona. There's like 7 locations. They were a big fence supplier, but I heard they shut that down. I went and worked there and did sales there, and that taught me a lot about sales. So it taught me how to not sell on price, and that's where a lot of people mess
Right.
up.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and
Absolutely. Sell on quality.
Yep. So when I first started working there, they said, during my training and everything, and here I am thinking, well, I don't need any training. I've been doing this for how long? I could train you guys, but I learned everything. So everything I've been through, I've learned. And they said, we walked out, and they were on a popular road there in Orlando. And they said, you see that Kia dealership down there? You have your Kia dealers. And you see that Mercedes dealership down there? You have your Mercedes. Okay. People are going to buy that Mercedes because of who Mercedes is. It might not be a better car. It might be the same car, because it has that Mercedes name. They're going to buy that. So that's how they taught me to sell value and not sell fence.
Right.
Not price, but to sell yourself, sell your company, sell your product, sell all that. And that's helped me now. So I'm very thankful for the experience.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
That's
And then
awesome, dude. I didn't know that you worked for Fence Outlet.
Yep. Yeah. It was about 11 months down there.
Okay. All right.
And then I moved back to Indiana, and I actually started subbing for Lowe's. I had a good friend that he subbed for Lowe's, does really well. He's one of the biggest in Indianapolis, but he still subs for Lowe's. And but I stopped now. But when we moved back, me, my wife, and another guy, we did all the installs for them. It was just us three, and my wife kicks ass. She can outbuild most men when it comes to building fences, actually. And she's not here. Yeah, she's not listening to me either.
No.
So we did that, and then she was like, "Hey, you know what? We need to get out of the fence bit, or out of Lowe's, kind of, because Lowe's was like kind of sucking."
Yeah.
And it was like, man, it's not what it used to be. It used to be, it was like we had a normal job, but we made business owner money. Like, we were making great money. Mm-hmm. No overhead. We had paid off trucks, paid off tools, everything. It was great. And but it was like, hey, we need to really step up our game and like go out on our own. And that's actually when we started with the academy. Mr. Nice. Academy. Yep.
Nice.
And we've been doing that. And that's what really kind of made us let go of Lowe's, and that was our choice, not theirs.
Right. Well, I'm sure it's been a good choice.
Oh yeah. Yep. Great.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. All right, man. Well, so tonight's topic is maintaining forward progress during periods of growth, and you've been around for 20 years, like you said. Let's dive into that.
Well, I want to say I did it wrong for like 19. So like everybody, like other people out there watching, like thinking they're doing it wrong, it's possible. Like, I did not do this right for a long time. So
heck yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, like, instead of getting like stuck on your failures, you just use your failures as a stepping stone to get to the goal. So, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody fails, right? So, we just got to learn how to make those failures turn into a win. And so, that's the goal. And I always like to tell my guys, it's the 6 P's: proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So, during your scaling time, budgeting and saving for growth is a big thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, like we're going to be putting like a new service truck on the road. We're going to be filling it with team members, tools, hiring and training installation team members, sales and office staff, all of that stuff. So, let's talk about a little bit about planning for growth whenever we see it coming. Hello.
Oh yeah. Okay. You pause there for a second.
Okay.
So yeah, I think like the thing I should have done from the very beginning, because like I said, I did it wrong for a long time. As far as planning for growth, if you think you're going to grow, you have to have an assistant. Like, there's just no way to do this. If you think you can go out there and build a fence and do all the sales, answer all the calls, and do everything, manage all the crews, you cannot grow if you're going to do all that. You have to have an assistant. You have to have somebody answering your calls, scheduling everything for you. And I feel like I have just somebody that's great for me. So, I mean, that's as far as if you're planning to grow, that's the number one thing I feel like you need to have.
Right. And then like, how far in advance are you talking about, like, starting to save up for, making all these purchases, or like you just budgeting for them in the year so that way you can do it at the end of the year? Or like, what's your thought process on that?
So we are just now to the point where we feel like we're kind of good as far as like growing. like we don't really need that many more, because before, up until, I mean, just recently, really, like we were still putting everything we had into the business, buying trailers, buying, like we bought the pool, bought the compressor, but just buying tools, buying everything we thought we need to make it. And we are
Right.
like, I feel like we don't really need to buy anything else. We don't really need to, we don't need another truck. We don't need another trailer. And it's finally like, we're good. Like that. So that part feels nice. But we still have to take that next step of going to the next step. And that's just a matter of, I feel like time.
Right.
And when I say time, I've been doing this for 20 years. This new business has been in and doing it right for the past 3, I believe 4. But then, like I said, we got in the Mr. Fitz Academy in January of last year, 23. So ever since then, that's when I want to say this business started to really take off.
How has that actually changed your business? Talk about that real quick, since you just mentioned it.
So I didn't know how to charge before. Like I just double materials was like the way you do it. And I was stupid. That was dumb. Like that's not how you do it. That's not how you grow a business. That's not how you sustain a business. I mean, you have to figure in your overhead and all that stuff too. So I would see all these quotes or people talking, oh, you got to know your numbers. You know your numbers. I didn't know my numbers at the time. And now my numbers are like, I know my numbers. So that was a big key and big, that helped a lot, I guess, in knowing that. And just not so much the techniques and everything, which I mean, I'm not like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I'm not like everybody else where I need taught to do anything. Like, I just know how to do it. Like, so like I just got to see something for 1 second. I'm like, cool, I got it. So I didn't really learn a whole lot as far as the techniques, obviously driving, whatever. But I needed the business part is what I needed to know to grow. I never went to college, or anything like that. My dad ran a construction business, but he started construction business when he was 16 and got in a wreck when I was 2. So like he would kind of teach me how to stuff, but he couldn't do a business anymore with his head injury. So he would just kind of tell me what he thought, but that was wrong. So,
yeah, I mean, and people join the academy for different reasons, whether it be like business coaching or installation coaching. I mean, it's a lot for the same reasons, and it's all what you take advantage of, right?
Right. Yep. And
absolutely.
the business is what I needed, my wife needed. And then actually that taught me the biggest key in hiring an assistant. And I think Sam Natello says you can't afford one until you have one.
Right.
And they're invaluable. And that is the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Someone there all the time to answer everything and send emails and, put out fires over the phone. That's awesome, man. But what are some of the struggles that the fence company itself faced during your periods of growth, as in like, taking yourself out of the driver's seat and actually letting the reins go?
So say that one more time. I'm not gonna lie. Kaylee just flashed me her tits. So it got me all, like so it got me all distracted.
Oh, well, that's a first. Yeah. Hold on. There we go.
So
good Lord.
Kaylee, can't do that. I got distracted.
Oh man. All right. So
I'm sorry.
You good. All right. So what were some of the struggles that the fence company faced during your periods of growth?
Oh, employees.
Yeah.
Like employees, and then me, not taking the time to train. And I still struggle with that. But like, I just having employees and holding them accountable, because there's always, oh, I'll do it. And I still do this. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I'll do it. Oh, I'll do it. And I need to stop that still. But I have some, I mean, it used to be, they get here and they'd leave and I'd clean off the truck for them. Like, I shouldn't be I shouldn't be the one out there cleaning off the truck,
Right.
or loading the truck. So it was just mainly, I just had an employee problem. And also I didn't know, like Sam Natello, he taught me about websites and everything. Like, I didn't know that was I never had a website. So that was like, I had a lot of struggles, not knowing my numbers. I mean, I knew how to build fence. I knew how to sell fence, but I didn't know the business part of the
Right.
business. Like,
Right.
there's people that don't know how to build a fence, but run a successful fence business. And I'm so jealous of them. And I'm like, man, like, you don't know how to build a fence, but you have this. That is like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
knowing how to run the business.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess that comes from, I hate to even say this, but white collar and blue collar backgrounds.
Yep.
I mean, coming into this industry as a white collar is you already have 2 steps ahead of everybody, maybe even 3.
Right.
And
I agree.
because most of our fence companies around the world or I don't even know about the around the world, but are started from blue collar workers just realizing that, hey man, I can make some money from this. And that's where it goes. But yeah, man, I fully understand that. And great stuff, dude. Great stuff. What are some of the personal struggles that you faced, i.e., balancing work life, home life, all of that during your periods of growth?
I kind of went over this with Kaylee, and she is awesome. My wife is awesome. So she knows the struggles of the business. Well, maybe she's awesome because she knows the struggles of the business. She knows what it takes and knows like what I deal with. And I think maybe having a supportive wife like helps with those. She coming on the cruise. I just fell out on the bottom of it. But like, just having somebody there, your best friend there next to you, knowing the struggles that you go through and knowing where she can be like a strong point for you. Knowing that, hey, no, he can't do this right now because he's got to do this because that's what turns the lights on.
Mhm.
But I've always done well with it as far as the balance between the work and life. And then also my kids have grown. Like, it's not like it's something I just got into and my kids are just, my kids have only known this. I have a 19-year-old. She's only known fence. Every one of my kids have only known fence. So they
Right.
know everything. I mean, they go to estimates and they sit in the car for an hour sometimes. It just happened like 2 weeks ago on a Saturday morning. I mean, they're sitting in a car for an hour and they didn't once complain. So
Right. Well, I mean, if it puts food on the table, then
yep.
shouldn't complain, right?
Yeah, and they completely understand that. So that's a cool thing. I wish my older kids would be more like want the business. But my 7-year-old, I still have hope, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of struggle with that choice whenever I like give up ownership as well. But after talking to Sean and to a couple of different people, I was just like, I don't have to put that weight on his shoulders and all that stuff. Like, if he wants to do it, he can do it. But like, I don't I don't see him being a fence builder. I mean, he knows how to build a fence. He's 14 and he can tell you what's an ugly fence and what's a good fence. But I mean, I don't think that that's what he wants to do. So I'm not all about pushing them to
Well,
do. something.
I don't want my kids to build fence, but I do want them to want to own a fence business, because I don't want them. I don't want them to go work for somebody else. I want them to go own a business. That's all. I always tell them that. But yeah, it's just, we'll see. I mean, it's just a kid thing. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see
absolutely.
They get broke, they probably want to come do the fences.
Pays good money. Good money. We all know that. All right, man. Well, we're gonna run a commercial, take a minute and 30-second break, and we'll be right back. All right.
All right, cool.
National Metal Industries, a family-owned business for 70-plus years, has grown to be recognized for their ability to deliver on not just privacy slats for fence, but all types of fence products. National Metal Industries has all the hardware and tools to get the fence professional in and out of their job with the most ease possible. You can count on National Metal Industries for the most convenient resources in fence products. Visit nmifence.com for more information. As we like to say, you can always pick it right at National. J.C. GURY Signs and Decals has been a trusted name in the sign industry since 1949, with all manufacturing done in-house from start to finish right here in the USA. With 75 years in outdoor signage and roots dating back to the 1920s, J.C. GURY specializes in durable, high-quality signs and decals. In-house screen printing since the 1970s ensures every product meets the highest standards. Visit jcgury.com for more information. Every aluminum sign includes Mylar lamination at no extra cost, extending product life in tough outdoor conditions. For unmatched quality and longevity, visit jcgury.com.
Buttons open and it's a perfect fit. Like I put it on and I was like, oh man, I got to have 3 button open. I was like, man, this is nice and like not like tight fitting and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite Richardson hats, like by far.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hat snob. So we used to have some, Richardson knockoffs, and the print shop we go through finally got some Richardsons, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we're getting. They cost a little more.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
It's absolutely worth it, man. I freaking love them, dude. I got like probably 30 or 40 of them. I'm the same way, dude. I love hats. I freaking love hats. So, but all right, man. So how was your past 7 days?
Not too bad. We've been kind of rocking and rolling. Had a couple little hiccups, but in those hiccups, we've kind of made things work. So no, it's going good.
Awesome, man. Well, I normally ask pretty much everybody that's on the show this. If I put you on the spot for it, I'm sorry. Can you give me a win and a loss for the week?
Let's see. A win, I would say, well, let's start with a loss. A loss, we are doing a job for some public transit in a city we've never worked in. We're kind of we're north of Denver, and then there's all the cities surrounding Denver. So we've got, as far as actual municipalities, like 30 or so that we could work in with all different licensing and all that. So this one specifically, we had called during the bid process. Oh no, we don't need a contractor license. We're good there. We've got our fence permit. We're all set. Then the guys are on site. They've got about half the post set, and the city inspector comes and says, nope, stop work. Where's your contractor license? So had to get that straightened out. That took about 10 days, I think. So that was a loss, I would say, because we had to scramble to get, a whole handful of guys somewhere to be to make money while we're waiting on the unknown amount of time that contractor license is going to take. So I'd say that was our loss. The win actually ties right into that. Is we got a bunch of the smaller in-between fill-in jobs that were on the books, that have been on the books for too long. We got a bunch of those done. So we made it work. It all worked out.
Man, and what's great about those is like they might be small little like small little paydays, but dude, you knock 3 or 4 of those out in a day, turns into a pretty damn good day at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, they add up.
I like them. Oh yeah, absolutely do. Absolutely do. All right. Well, give us a little bit of information about High Point Companies. You said you were north of Denver. What actual city are you out of?
So we're in Fort Collins.
Okay.
Some people, CSU, that's where they're at. Colorado State University. We're real far north, so we're actually closer to Cheyenne than we are Denver. We're only about 35 minutes from Cheyenne, Wyoming. We're about 15, 20 minutes from the border, so we're pretty far north. But so we've got, like I said, probably about 30 municipalities that are within, an hour drive of us. Most of our work, though, is right around the Fort Collins area. So we're probably commuting 30 minutes on average to jobs. So not terrible. There's plenty of work around here.
It's about the same here. Our normal average commute is anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we can go down to the suburbs on the south side of Denver, and that's 2.5 hour drive. So we try and stay out of there, but some jobs it's worth going there.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, I know. Tomorrow we're getting here at 6 a.m. because we got an hour-and-a-half drive to Freeport. So we do it too. We do it as well.
Not ideal,
but if the money's there, if the money's there, just go to it, right? So how long has High Point been in business?
So we've got, I guess, kind of a different story than a lot of the other fence companies around. So we've been in business since 2013. That's when we got registered with the state and all that, and at least became legit. The company did some other stuff before that, before being official. But we started actually in large acreage mowing. So we were doing, let's see, we had a couple tractors, 15 to 20 foot wide mowers, and we were doing about 4,000 acres a year mowing. So, and that was mostly around here. I don't know how it is some other areas of the country, but we've got a lot of subdivisions where they've got lots of open space and they try and keep it native. But they also want it to look nice. So it's kind of this balance of cutting it down, but it's also native grass, so it doesn't grow great when it's cut. So that's a whole nother thing. But we did that up until 2020. And in 2019 is when we officially started our fencing division. We've been getting calls, we do a lot of acreage mowing, so there's usually some fence around grass. So we get fence repairs, and then that turned into, hey, you guys did great on those repairs. Can you install some barbed wire fence here? A little bit of cedar here and there. And so, 2019, we opened the fencing division, and we ran that, both of those for a year. At the time, sorry, this might be a little long-winded.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Okay, great. At the time, kind of the mowing industry in our area, when we got into it, there were, I'd say probably 5 or 6 companies doing the large acreage stuff in our area. When we got out of it, we were the last ones. And the whole business kind of was going more towards keeping everything, letting it grow, not worrying about that stuff so much. So we kind of got out of it at the perfect time. And we ran both those divisions for a year, which that was a struggle in itself. If you want to have a company that does more than one thing, be ready for it because it's a lot. But then we started kind of in the ag, a little bit of residential market. Quickly decided that's not where we wanted to be. Multiple reasons, but the big ones were the paychecks are a lot smaller than they could be, doing larger jobs. And then kind of the scheduling of it, everybody in their backyard wants their fence done now. And we can't get to it for a month. Sometimes that's an issue. And then just being in people's backyards, people looking out the windows. I don't like that. I know a lot of the guys don't like that. So we quickly decided we wanted to move more into the commercial space. We already had a lot of commercial contacts from the mowing side of things, so it was kind of an easy in of, hey, I know you've got these 100 acres around your commercial site. If you guys need a new fence, let us know. So we moved into that area, and it was somewhat transitory. And now we do maybe 3 or 4 backyards a year, and that's for guys that own commercial property.
Right. All right.
That's kind of our story, getting where we're at.
Hell yeah, man. I love it. I love it. And so like I said in my intro, like a lot of the people who actually like really know me personally know that like chain link is not one of my favorites. It's not something I have ever said I'm a pro at, but here recently I've gotten pretty fond of it. Been doing a lot, like a lot more of it, a lot more of the commercial side of the chain link stuff. And man, I gotta tell you, man, it's a real art form. Like none of the other styles of fences I consider a true art form. Like it's takes a lot to get really good at chain link.
I could see a little bit of art in some cedar, but really that's it. And then on the chain link side, like it might just be me, but a nice flowing chain link fence over some hills, I think it looks nice, and it does take a bit of an eye and a little bit of work to get it to look good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how many crews are you guys running over there?
So we got 8 guys in the field, and 4 pickups. And the crew size, it kind of varies. So on these larger jobs, typically 2 guys or 2 trucks, 3-man crews is pretty standard. And then the other 2 trucks, one being mine, kind of fill in here and there. So whether that be, I take 3 guys with me one day, or I go by myself to go do something. That's kind of some of the fill in or the more specialty stuff. But yeah, those 2 trucks are going to all the jobs we produce.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
we've got in addition to those 8 guys, we've got 3 office staff. 2 of them are part-time, one's full-time, and then we got a part-time guy that runs around and delivers equipment, picks up, odds and end material stuff, kind of does the random stuff that needs to be filled in.
Right. Well, that's awesome, dude. So you've told us how you got into commercial, like chain link. What's your favorite part about it, and then what's your least favorite part about it?
Least favorite part is tying.
Yeah.
I hate tying chain link. We use the easy twist ties, so that makes it better at least. But it's just so monotonous and repetitive. Not my favorite.
Hey man, I can relate on that one right now because I've been tying for 2 days. Chris just walked in and grabbed his stuff, but so I've been tying for 2 days on a 3,500-foot job, and I have blisters all over my fingers, and it's not the funnest job.
Not
tying all day long. You're right. It's so monotonous. Like I kept looking up and being like, so much more footage to go.
Yeah, and you move so slow. It's terrible.
Oh, I know, man. I'm like, every time I move the ladder, I'm like, all right, cool, 1. But I'm like, oh man, I'm only 7 links down.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah, and then favorite part, I would say, let's see, I'd say probably getting top rail to flow nice. If you got a trim post and any of that, getting it to flow nice, because at the end of the day, that's where the fabric's going to sit. So it's got to look pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been a hard learning curve for me because, man, I'm used to wood, vinyl, and aluminum. I can make it roll a whole lot easier, but it was a hard learning curve. I'm really starting to get it. I see Chris Steele's in here commenting. He said, "Earning those quick ties, you goddamn right, son."
Yep, that's the way to go for sure.
But yeah, man. So I'm actually kind of falling in love with chain link, man. It's been a rough but fun journey, and I'm excited to keep on going with it. But
No, it's my favorite fence to build, and I mean once you get the hang of it, once you really get it down, it is easy. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but it's easy. Even when you get into some of the bias cuts and stuff, once you get a system down, it's super easy to repeat and do it the first time every time.
oh yeah, man, I'm a big fan of that. Teachable, repeatable, measurable,
Yeah.
and I forgot the other one. Like I'm not wearing the shirt tonight, but yeah, man, I am a super fan of it being repeatable and like teachable. So
Yeah.
that is a big thing for me. I love it to where I can teach somebody the same way every single time.
Yeah. Well, and then if you make it to where your system is easy to teach, then the guy you just taught it to is going to be using that system, and it's exactly how you want it done. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, I think, which is great.
Right. Absolutely does. Absolutely does. All right. Well, hey, we're going to get into our next topic, and something that we deal with as well. It's going to be bigger jobs, bigger paychecks, bigger headaches, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you, but most of these commercial jobs we're doing are pushing a minimum of 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
All of that stuff takes time, takes scheduling, takes equipment getting out there, blase. How do you navigate that being the operations supervisor?
Well, it's all logistics, right? How many guys do I need where, with how much material, what equipment do they need? And that's on the easy side. It's when you get into I need concrete delivered this much, this day, this time, and they're running 2 hours late. It's that kind of
Always
stuff
waiting on the concrete truck.
Yep. So it's that kind of stuff that becomes more of a challenge, I would say. Whenever you have moving parts that are outside of your control, that's always the holdup. A lot of what I do is just trying to get those logistics down. The internal stuff's fairly easy. You always end up with we forgot the truss rods somehow. Didn't grab a single truss rod this morning, but they need a couple of them for sure. So it's that kind of stuff that makes me pull my hair out. But no, other than that, it's a lot of just systemizing it and making it to where it's repeatable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of my things. I'm gonna sidestep on this, but like that was one of like my things that I was brought into high steel for, like as well as to like minimize those calls. Like, hey, we didn't bring any truss rods. Well, why didn't you bring any truss rods? I gave you the material pull sheet this morning and you dotted every single thing. Why did you dot the truss rods if they were on the truck? And so, man, I gotta say, dude, we have drastically lowered the amount of times that we got to call the shop guy Tyler and be like, hey, I need 2 tension bands, or hey, I need 5 2x4s, or something like that.
Right.
And man, that is where you lose so much efficiency, is whenever you're just standing dead in the water. There's nothing for 3 guys to do because they're waiting on 2 freaking like brace bands or 2 tension bands. And dude, cutting all of that fat, like trimming that fat out, has streamlined the process a whole lot. And I didn't mean to get on too much of a side thing, but I'm
No, for
loving
sure.
it.
That's important. And I mean, it's once you recognize kind of what that problem is, it's easy to fix. I mean, so all the trucks have a bin with 3 to 10 extra fittings of every size, every fitting they keep on the truck all the time, because inevitably the count will be off by 2, and then they're short 2 brace bands. And then what do? You're right. You got to have the shop guy come out, have 3 guys sit there doing absolutely nothing over 2 brace bands. It's kind of ridiculous, right? So once you recognize that stuff, keep an extra bin of parts on the truck. We stage all our material. There's that's 4 jobs. It all gets organized in little spots out in the yard. Well, why'd they forget the truss rods? Because it was on the pull sheet. They marked it off that they put it on the truck, but guess where it was sitting? Right in that spot in the yard, sitting there for that job, just waiting. So how did it get missed? I don't know, but we're gonna work on that, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, I always tell them, I say, don't put that black dot on the pull sheet till it is sitting on the bed of the truck.
Exactly.
If it's not sitting on the bed of the truck, do not put that black dot on there because you will forget it.
Every time.
So yeah, every single freaking time, man. And they'll be about 20 minutes away from finishing. Oh, hey, I forgot a latch kit.
Yep.
It's like, oh, wonderful. You're 45 minutes away.
Don't you love to hear
that? Man, I could go into so much shit. Oh, man, I'm going to fire Chris up right now. Freaking half-inch socket. Oh, bro, we were out. Like Chris and I and the shop guy were out driving some posts for a vinyl job last week, and he said, "Bob, go ahead." And we get a text on the Connect Team app says, "We don't have a half-inch socket in the truck." I was like, "Oh man, that's really unfortunate." Seeing how there's like normally 5, 10 half-inch sockets on each truck because we do change quite a lot, and there's only a couple sizes that you use: 1/2 inch, 9/16, and every so often some bigger ones, right?
Right.
And I just remember Chris being like, he like put the phone down and he said, "Man, I wouldn't even put that in the chat. I would have clocked out, went to the hardware store up the road, got a half-inch socket, and nobody would have ever known the difference." And I said, "Brother, they're not built like us, man. They just aren't. Nope. They're just not made like us anymore." And it just cracked me up, man. And I see him over here, bro.
Oh, I get that for sure.
But that was funny because he got real hot about it, and I was just laughing. I was like, "Oh man, he's right." I would not have put that in chat. I would have been like, "Nope, go in the store real quick. I'll be back in 10 minutes, y'all."
Yeah, where's the closest place I can get a half-inch socket? That's where I'm going.
Right. But
there's been times
segue. Go ahead.
There's been times that this was long ago, but they were an hour away and they didn't have a hammer drill for some reason, and we had to plate mount a post. Why is there not a hammer drill in the truck? I don't know, but boy, it's sure cheaper to send one guy to Home Depot 5 minutes up the road to buy a new hammer drill than for them to come all the way back here to get one. And so that's one of those things where if you're prepared, it saves money, honestly. Because then we got an extra hammer drill. We got still guys sitting around. It's just, it ends up being a whole thing, right?
Absolutely does, man. But so I didn't mean to segue too much off of that because we were going down into a rabbit hole there for a second. But so still on that same topic, I see you guys sell some Bobcat parts. I was on your website last week. Pretty freaking cool, man. I see you guys use a lot of the mud mixers. Tell me about some of the equipment that you guys use for your commercial chain link. And I'm also curious about this concrete truck that you guys just acquired.
Okay. So again, we're a little bit different than any other fence company I know of. And all the guys that work here have worked at other fence companies, and they say they'll never go back. We're very equipment heavy and people poor, Cole, my brother likes to say. So we've got, equipment for everything. We own a Mini X. We don't use it that often, but we own it. We got the MT mini skids. We got 5 of them because, you got to have a spare, right? Son. And maybe the spare has to have a spare. No, but it's good to have. We send one of those to every single job. Doesn't matter how small, how big. An MT is going to every single job. We only own 1 skid steer, and it sits more than it gets used. They say to change the oil like every 200 hours or every year. Yeah, we don't hit that 200 hours in a year. Never happened.
Yeah. No.
So that kind of stuff sits.
It's a glorified forklift, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the forklift gets a ton of hours on it. The skid steer.
Yeah.
So we do use it. Like we've got what is a mega mixer for the front of it. Back when we did a lot of bagged concrete 3 or 4 years ago, we got that. We're looking at switching over to the EZG unit. I don't remember what they call it, but it's great for that. We've got like the EZG mixer for the front of the mini skids too. That's freaking awesome. That's something that anybody should look into getting, is a concrete mixer for your whatever equipment you have. And then we've got a little crane. If anybody follows us on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen pictures of that. Handy for hanging gates, picking operators up out of the back of trucks, things like that. We got a telehandler. We got that mostly to fill this concrete truck that we just got. So a little story on that. We got, let's see, I think about a year ago, we bought a volumetric concrete trailer. So what that is, it's the mix on site, the on demand, the mobile mix, whatever they call it. All the dry ingredients go in dry, and then it mixes them on site and makes wet concrete. So you don't got to worry about mixing times. You don't got to worry about scheduling and all that. So we bought this trailer. It only holds 3 yards. 1,000 feet of fence needs more than 3 yards of concrete. I can tell you that right now.
3 yards.
Yeah. So it's super handy, but it's not big enough. But we used it a lot. So we were searching for a truck. Now these trucks range from 8 to 12 yards. It's a CDL truck, air brakes and all that. So unfortunately, I am one of 2 people here that can drive it, so that ends up being my role a lot, but it's not too bad. But we bought that truck. We got a 8 yard is what they say. I squeezed 11 out of it the other day, so I'm not sure how they ran. Yeah, but it's great. We picked that up, and boy, I tell you, it's been running almost constant since we got it. I think 2 months ago. So that's a great purchase, because we talked about logistics a minute ago, and concrete trucks always being late. Guess what? I can just pull up and I can sit there for 30 minutes and they're not ready for me. It's not a big deal. So awesome, that's been huge. Again, if concrete's an issue for you guys, look into a volumetric truck, because you just load some rock, some sand, and some Portland in, and it can sit there for 2 months and be fine. And then as soon as you need it, it's ready to make concrete.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah. So then, some other kind of more into the what stuff goes to what jobs. Like I said, a mini skid goes to everything. The skid steer will go to bigger stuff to dispense concrete. That's really it, and unload material. Trying to think, we got like fence hogs for putting fabric up. That's the big stuff. And then the multitude of hand tools you need, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, all right. So let's talk about scheduling, and then also pay schedules as well. So how does that work in your realm of things?
So it's all a balance of basically the GC deadlines and the timelines for that. So we kind of set it up to, we know exactly when the completion date is for each project. We know how long it's going to take us, and the schedule kind of moves around based on jobs that come in. So if we get something in that has a deadline of a month from now, that's going to get pushed to the front of the schedule, as long as everything else, works out behind it. As far as the pay schedule, it sucks. 30-day, 60-day, 90-day. I mean, pay when paid, that's the worst.
Right.
You float cost till you get paid, and you try, you got to have credit. Credit's a big deal. especially because you're buying materials for the next job, but you haven't been paid for the last 3 jobs yet. So yeah, it adds up quick.
You still got to pay all them. Still got to pay all them employees too, right?
Yeah, payroll never stops. Operating costs never stop. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a balance for sure. I mean, we're fortunate to be in a place where usually it all works out pretty well, and we hardly ever have to dip into the credit, but that's what it's there for if you do need it. So yeah, and then biggest thing I would say to be aware of is liquidated damages. You'll find that on a lot of the commercial contracts. Read the contract, redline what you can, try and get it to be as small of a contract as possible because some of them get pretty lengthy. And yeah, look for those liquidated damages, look for that completion date, get rid of whatever you feel like doesn't apply to you. If it's something that doesn't apply to you, redline it and say, look, this doesn't apply. I'm not going to do the job unless we take this out of the contract. Most of the time, that's not an issue. But yeah, those are the big things.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna roll the commercial real quick, and we'll be back for the rest. So I'll see y'all in about a minute.